Well, hello. It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks I've been using throughout the week. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, do you have a local newspaper where you are? That's kind of the big topic out of all my little topics this week that was on my mind. So let us know down in the comments. So I'm just going to mention that I'm being lazy tonight. I was busy getting ready for school and stuff, and I thought, oh yeah, pens in use. And I'm already a day late. So I'm doing it on my live stream camera. So, hey, get what you get. So, somehow I got water on my normal background. A lot of water. Oh shoot, and I just figured out how.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so fun fact. I don't like to buy bottled water because it's a very predatory industry. And so I rarely do. I like to refill bottles. But every so often, you're out somewhere and you just, like, I don't really want to take with me a bottle I got to carry around after I empty it. And so you want a disposable bottle, sometimes multiple times. Like if I'm going to a football game, I'll take a bottle of water with me and try to refill it several times while I'm there. But, something might happen to it or whatever. So I like to buy more expensive water bottles when I do buy bottled water. And, one of those that I've been refilling, turns out that was the leak on the floor. So hopefully I didn't destroy any laminate underneath it. Because I got enough troubles. But anyway, we're going to take a look at some pens. As you can see, this is probably not the week to use my black background, but as I said, my tipped over refilled water bottle ended up saturating my other pen thingy. So, we're looking at a bunch of black pens on a black background and a Parker Sonnet. So, from left to right, we have a Inoxcrom Caravel 1920 Mark II. I have a Kaweco Dia 2. I have a Lamy 2000. Hemingway Jones, eat your heart out. I have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age. I have a Senator matte gray and black. No, matte gray and silver. I like to call it the Silver Fox. I have a wonderful pen in this whole. So I have said that I like slim black vintage pens. But anyway, Parker Sonnet. I have a sorry, I'll go quick with the model number. 2G. And finally, I have 99/3036. As always, I'll be doing my rate surplus theory notebook. All right, so my preview screen isn't as good as I usually have, and what I usually have isn't very good. So I will do my best here. But my first pen is this Inoxcrom Caravel 1920 Model 2. This is a Spanish pen. Got in some trouble with Mont Blanc. And since this is actually a survivor pen, I'll talk about it. I'm going to do a revisit of it. And I expect to see it in the next couple of months. So Inoxcrom, which by the way still exists. Caravel, which means sailing ship. If I had a better camera, I don't know if this is showing this at all. If I had my usual camera tonight, you could see a sailing ship there. But it's a Model 2, 1920. The ink inside of it is Noodler's green cactus eel. So I'll admit, I'm not sure what language the word green is supposed to be, with the umlauts over the U. I just know I saw that on a label somewhere, so it is what it is. I think it's a very attractive green. The eel quality helps, pistons lubricate and whatever. Very attractive ink. And a little slow drying, but whatever. The pen is kind of a wimpy click when it posts, when you cap it, but it caps. My next pen is this lovely, hopefully on screen. Yeah, kind of on screen. Yeah, I'm not doing this again. When I live stream with this camera, it's awesome, but with this is, I've got like an inch by half-inch preview. So this is my Kaweco Dia 2. Yeah, nib looks a little small, but it works. So this is the Kaweco Dia 2. Has a broad nib in it. The ink is, let's just straighten this slightly, Omas Gray, which is a discontinued ink. Fig Boot actually did a review today of a revived Omas Ogiva cocktail. I happen to own one. No, I guess he just called it Omas Ogiva. I happen to own the original Omas Ogiva in a cocktail formulation. I will admit that I looked at his video and the pen just kind of left me cold. I don't want one. I mean, I'm not even going to fantasize. I just don't want one. So if you saw my live stream this past weekend, I finally inked up the Lamy 2000 for the upcoming school year. Very exciting. Well, for me it is. And I've been curious how this pen would take to this paper. It has a fine nib in it, and the ink in it is Pelikan Edelstein Onyx. Is it my favorite black? No. When I use up this bottle, I'm never ever going to buy another one. But it is a really nice black. It's very rich. Flows well out of the pen. I'm not sure what I'm going to settle on. Years ago, I said it's going to be Lamy black, but that was a scientific decision, and I'm kind of... I got a lot of black ink to use up in the meantime, so who knows where I'm going to land. Pelikan is a likely candidate. Pelikan 4001 Brilliant Black. But I'll tell you, my heart is actually in Parker Quink Black. But we'll see. So this is my Visconti Homo Sapiens. Bronze Age with a tiger eye, mainly because the original thing that was up here, held by a magnet, fell out and was lost forever. So I bought a tiger eye and super glued it in. I love how this pen writes. I love how it looks, but it's got a few issues which apparently I can talk about because it's also a Survivor pen. So look for that in the next couple of months. It has a few issues that need to be resolved. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens. And I happen to have a medium nib in it. And if you're interested, it is actually palladium. I mention that because they've now gone back to gold for their nibs. And the ink in it is Noodler's, if you couldn't tell from that delightful shading. Black Swan. In English Rose. I enjoy the Black Swan series. I have all of them. Australian Rose is my favorite. This is probably my second favorite. And apparently, which surprised me, Blue Nose Bear is also in this series, but Blue Nose Bear is... that's an interesting ink. We'll have to talk about it one of these days, but not today. So I love my vintage pens. You've seen one from the 90s, but we're going to go back to the 60s or 70s here. Now, with Senator, I never know what their models are called, so, this is the Silver Fox, because that's a cool name, and I'm starting to get gray hair, so I hope somebody somewhere in the world is calling me a Silver Fox. I don't know. But it's a very well-made pen. I mean, that piston is just like Lamy 2000 level. You can't even see it's there. It's just a well-made, very comfortable pen. Don't loan it out, though, because people jam the cap on way too hard. So, I'll put both names here. So it's either matte gray and silver. Or, as I like to call it, the Silver Fox. Years ago, somebody told me I should do political comedy with my vast collection of Senator pens. And although Senator Cummerbund has been donated to Hemingway Jones's channel, I still have more Senator pens than God, so I could probably do that. I get in trouble when I give too much of my opinion, though. So this is Callifolio Violet. Not my favorite out of all the violet inks I own, but it is a very nice color, and I will admit that this pen is doing a much better job with this color than whatever the last pen I had this ink in was doing. So, this is a very fine nib. It's very stingy with the ink. But sometimes that's exactly what you need. My next little beauty. The only pen that's not black this week is my Parker Sonnet. It's my Parker Sonnet with the gold nib. And it has an ink in it that I'm not seeing anymore. So I don't know if it's discontinued or if just my usual retailers have quit carrying it. So this is a Parker Sonnet with a fine nib. The ink in it is Sailor, Storia, Night. Back in my brief attempt at doing ink reviews, I did actually do a video review of all the Storia inks, so I'll try to remember to put a link to that below down in the video description. Don't worry, it's nothing amazing. The only ink video I have ever done that I'm proud of is when I reviewed a bunch of black inks. There are people like Chris Sains who are much better doing ink reviews than me. The fun thing about this is it's a pigmented ink. The word is slipping my brain. It has little nanoparticles, and if I get this wet, now it won't dissolve because it's not soaked into the page. It's actually just sitting on top of it. Okay, my penultimate pen, like Penultimate Dave, is my Kaweco Dia 02/36. No, O2G. Sorry, O2G. This is one of those slim black pens with a tiny little nib, but it gives some wonderful, wonderful writing. So this is the Kaweco Dia, and it has an extra fine nib. And as you can see, the strokes really vary. The ink in it is Pelikan Edelstein, Smoky Quartz. The air here today smells really smoky. Wow, that is a Z. And we suddenly don't want to write again. Smoky, we'll just do it over here. Don't know what was up with that. You know, it's a very nice dark brown. Not my favorite brown, but I have actually discovered I like brown inks. For a long time, I avoided brown because I just thought, well, it's the same color as poop. But there's lots of other things that are brown too, so I finally got over that. And my final pen, which I haven't used in a long time, and writing with it tonight, I'm just like, well, why? This is my Lamy 99/36. Has an oblique fine nib on it, which turns out to be a whole gob of fun. So it's a Lamy 99/36 oblique fine. And I'll illustrate down below what oblique means. But the ink in it is Lamy. Lamy. Wow. I shouldn't do these this late at night. Bronze. Good thing it's the last pen. Oh, I gotta do the talking part of the video yet. Daggone it. So, this is an ink that's running low. If you remember how Lamy bottles work, they have kind of a dimple in the bottom. I have the level almost at the dimple. But I was going to talk briefly about a oblique nib, so here's we go. An oblique nib is like that. You know, they can be cut the other way, but honestly, if you're right-handed, the other way is a pain in the ass. Yes, I do own one of those. So sorry I bought it. Because I used it once and didn't even finish up the fill of ink in that pen. Okay, so to let you know what I mean by dimple, this is another Lamy bottle. Holy cow. So I am about level with this sticky outy thing at the bottom. So I probably have 2-3 more fills of this ink left, and then we're on to something else. Okay, so those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. It's now 8:45. I still have to edit this flipping thing. God. But anyway, first thing is I want to mention I'm going to do a Q&A. I'm hoping it'll come out over the holidays this winter. But I'm going to do some filming, hopefully this weekend. I have 8 questions right now. I'm going to film 3 of them this weekend. I'm looking at next weekend doing some more, although my voice might be gone by then because school's going to start. We'll get to that. But anyway, so if you have questions, feel free to submit them. It's a wide open, but you know, if it's an inappropriate question, what's your favorite something inappropriate to do? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not even going to acknowledge it. But I'm curious, so let me know if you have any questions. Just feel free to put them there. I'll put, like I said, it's in the video description. Second thing I wanted to mention, I did a book review recently of Alistair Reynolds' Revelation Space. I did some concept mapping. Now, I've been working on another book review, and I just thought, the concept mapping is not working for this one, so I'm going to do it without the concept mapping. So I think that's one of those things that kind of works for some books, not for others. Probably works for all books. I'm just not talented enough, but yeah, I'm just curious what you thought of me using the concept mapping. Distraction, did it help? Again, let me know down in the comments. My classes that I took for the summer are done, which is good because school starts August 23rd. Online classes and I are not friends. I need a teacher. So it's helping me feel the value of my own profession. At the same time, I'm glad I didn't have to drive anywhere. But if I could have done a video session every day or every other day, that would have been good. Especially if it was live and you could do Q&A. The way we were doing it, where we just read articles that weren't even written by the professor or were just picked up off the internet, and the link is broken, but what happens, bub. Yeah, didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy the simulations either because I had a lot of trouble with getting them to work. They're done. Next year I'm going to do one class and be done with it. It'll make the whole thing take longer, but who cares? My whole life suffered this summer where I didn't go anywhere because of this damn class. So, just doing one because I was even going to go home to visit my parents this summer and couldn't do that. So I'm that bitter about this class. So yeah, I'm just taking one class next summer. Then I can visit my parents. On a happier note, there's something called Little Free Libraries, and I put a link to it in the video description. So what people do is they'll put up little post boxes, like mailboxes, a little bigger, like maybe 2 shelves of that thing behind me, if you can see it. I don't know what you see with this camera, but 2 shelves of that. You can maybe fit 30 books on it. And the whole idea behind a Little Free Library is you take a book and you leave one. And then you can kind of exchange books through the community. And I have thought for several years what fun that would be to set up. And I still think that. And it turns out there is one here in my little town of 1,500 people. I had never seen it before, and I had walked down that street many times and never noticed it. And I found out why when somebody pointed out that, hey, we do have one. It's right up by the house. And I had thought when I heard this, oh boy, I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to put it on my pens in use. No, not so much, because it's right by the front door of the house. I get that. I get that the idea is maybe it'll make people nervous to be stupid. But, boy, it's like, yeah, I'm going to walk the whole way into your yard. No, I'm not. But when I talk about people being stupid, there's the usual vandalism. There's kids doing stuff and whatever. But then I read an article recently about a legislator whose wife decided, in Arkansas, of course, whose wife decided, hey, I'm going to go to these Little Free Libraries, which, one of the things of the Little Free Libraries is let's have some diversity, because isn't that the point of libraries, is to have a little bit of everything for everybody, even if they're in a minority? Yes, I got a driving video coming up on that, but not tomorrow, but soon. Because God, I can't leave that topic alone. It's a gift that doesn't stop giving. But anyway, she decided I'm going to replace the books I don't like with Bibles. And not only did she do that, she decided to post about it on social media, where she very explicitly said what she was doing, and her husband is left going, she's getting taken out of context. When you read her post, no, she's not. So that was amusing. I have three other things left here I'm going to mention. First one is about local newspapers. I read an article tonight right before I started filming this. 8 newspapers in North Dakota have closed this year. Now, these are small town newspapers. You may say, who cares? But I just want to remind you, all news is local. Now you might say, oh, that thing about Joe Biden as president taking care of Maui. Okay, there was a bug just flew by my face. I'm sorry. That thing about Joe Biden taking care of the fires in Maui doesn't affect me. I live in North Dakota. But it is local to the people in Maui. Everything you read in the news is local to somebody. And I think it's valuable to have somebody there to report on it. Somebody who actually knows what's going on in the community. I could fly in as a reporter to Maui, spend a little time on the beach. We'll go photograph some burned down houses, find somebody looking destitute, interview them, and fly home. That's a totally different totally different deal from somebody who actually lives there, who understands the suffering, who understands, there's issues here with big business trying to snap up these properties now that they've been burned down. Now that it's really hard to rebuild. Hey, we'll build resorts here instead of local people houses. We'll just make this a rich person's resort. That is an issue. That's a concern that somebody like me from the outside might not even be aware of without local reporting. And so when I hear that 8 local newspapers have closed in North Dakota, I think of that. Several of them, I'm going to share the story of one of them from a town called Walhalla, which my driving footage is getting closer and closer to Walhalla. That stupid bug is back again. But very cool town in a beautiful setting. Everybody was just too old to keep going. And nobody wanted to buy it because there's just not enough profit in it. And so I would just encourage you to, first of all, buy your local newspaper, support it. If your local newspaper is struggling, with articles or financially or whatever, maybe you can supply some articles. Maybe you can supply some pictures. Help them out. Maybe you're the person who could buy it. I lived in I'm not going to name the town because this is me naming a private citizen, but I lived in a small town of under 500 people for 3 years. The longtime editor of the paper wanted to retire. One of my former students, and I've only been teaching for 23 years, one of my former students bought the paper from her, and he has made a success of it. So it can be done. You just need the right person. And you might be the right person. I have thought that would be a cool retirement job. Just don't ask me to write the sports page because I don't understand sports. I photograph them, but I don't know what's going on. Ooh, is this the sport with the orange round ball or the funny brown ball that's kind of long with the pointy ends? That's me. But I can take pictures of it. So, anyway, kind of a sad story, but it's nationwide. We're seeing local newspapers either getting consolidated, bought up by larger companies, or just closing altogether. And yeah, part of it is the rise of the internet, but in a lot of places, there is not anything on the internet to replace the local newspaper. When the local newspaper folds, you just get nothing. Your local town council, county commissioners can just do whatever the hell they want because there's no oversight anymore. So, I think local newspapers are important. On a happier or maybe more depressing note, depending on your point of view, school will start for me August 23rd. We had an in-service last week. I wasn't in the best mood for it. I'll be honest, I had a funeral for a student. Let's see. Let's cover up some stuff. I had a funeral for a student who passed away. I don't know how that's turning out, but I'm hoping decently. I had a student who passed away at the age of 27. He was in a helicopter working for the state of Alaska as a geologist. And so I had that funeral on Tuesday, and then I had to go to my first school meeting on Wednesday, and yeah, my mind wasn't there on Wednesday. Tuesday is when I usually edit together my videos, and I was not feeling it that evening, so that's why this week's video was late. I don't know. I'll talk about him someday, just not today. But anyway, up until he passed away, he was living a really cool life. So, it is good to know that people from this little town where I teach do go on to do wonderful things, and he did. So, that's what keeps me going back. People at our meeting on Wednesday, one of the things we talked about in a session was, what keeps you coming back to teaching, and it's that. It's the adults that I used to teach who are now successful in some way and living their life that they want to live. And that's what my job is. I'm not here to make kids happy or to make parents happy. I'm here to prepare for the future adult. And this particular adult did very well for himself. Lived a really exciting life. So that's what keeps me going in teaching, is the adults that they become. As far as what I'm teaching, I'm pretty much the same as always. I'm not teaching any math this year because we actually have enough math teachers this year. We're short on English teachers, but we have enough math teachers. So I don't have to teach any math, and I can't teach English, so I'm good. I'm doing all science. So I'll have 2 sections of freshman physical science. I'll have a freshman of junior high STEM, a section of high school STEM, and a section of physics. So 5 different preps. What's wrong with me? One of the reasons I got into bigger schools was to have fewer classes to prep for. So I guess I went from 6 to 5. But whatever. I've been doing it long enough that it's not like it was when I was a new teacher, trying to prep for 6 different courses and thinking, my degree is physics, I don't know anything about biology, and had to also take courses in all these different sciences to get certified in them, and I'm glad those days are over. I've got a lot of stuff made up, and now I'm more on the let's improve this course this year. So it's a good place to be. The last thing I just wanted to mention, I'm going to be doing a video. If I get time tomorrow, it'll be on Monday. But I'm going to be doing a video about a book that was a memoir of an author who grew up in Center, North Dakota. Now, when I do that video, I actually have driving footage of the town of Center, North Dakota. You'll never guess what part of North Dakota Center is located in. But anyway, he grew up in Center, North Dakota. Turns out he was gay and had a lot of baggage to deal with. He also had a lot of thoughts about the coal mining industry around Center, which has changed a lot since then. And anyway, it was an interesting book. So I don't know if I'll get it all filmed tomorrow. If I do, you'll see it on Monday. If not, it'll be next week. But it's Taylor Borby's Boys and Oil. But anyways, it was interesting. I don't know that I'll ever reread it, but it was interesting to read once. But not a book I could really concept map. Part of the reason I'm not sure if it'll be ready tomorrow is because I spent too long trying to concept map, and I finally just decided, nope. It's not. Excuse me. There is smoke in the air, by the way. I don't know if it's from the wildfires in Canada or if it's something local, but I've been coughing all day, and I'm blaming these damn wildfires because I can even smell the smoke right now. But anyway, it'll be interesting to discuss it. And maybe it's just as well I'm not concept mapping it because I have a drive around Center, North Dakota. And then he talks about the drag line at the coal mine. Well, it was last fall. I went along Highway 200. My goal was I wanted to show all the little towns along Highway 200. And I kind of did. I missed McCluskey and didn't do much Underwood. But McCluskey was full of people, but they were doing a celebration of some kind. But anyway, in Underwood, I stopped and I filmed a drag line in operation. So I'm kind of thinking I've got this driving footage during the winter in Center that I could show during part of it. And no, Center is not one of North Dakota's scenic towns. And then I can show this drag line when I talk about that part of his book. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, books are a part of me, as maybe you can see there. If you ever visit my house, you'll kind of wonder how it doesn't collapse from all the bookshelves, because that's just one of many. I'm a book hoarder. And I go to the library too, or else it would be a lot worse. So, anyway, I want to thank you for watching. And if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And, hey, comment down below. Do you have a local newspaper? Is it in trouble? Let us know down in the comments. So I'm going to send you out with a little bit of footage from, not in Center, North Dakota itself, but from around Center, North Dakota, because tomorrow's going to be a high of 65 degrees Fahrenheit here in North Dakota. But I know for a lot of you it's going to be blistering hot tomorrow, so I think a little drive through the snow ought to be a nice way to end this. So I want to thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.